So, you failed the ARE? What do you mean you failed your exam? After all that studying? Now you'll never be an architect. You will be forever known as the office intern. I bet you didn't know that the NCARB publishes the names of everyone who failed the exam for the world to know. This is what happens to ARE candidates who fail an ARE test section. Hope you had a second career to fall back on, or maybe we can just call you the draftsman with the fancy architecture degree. Okay, I'm just kidding. Calm down, none of this is true. I'm just teasing. I'm the oldest kid, don't blame me. I had to do it. Failing an exam actually isn't as big of a deal as you may think. Take it from me. I feel sheepish, and probably shouldn't, to admit this, but I failed the architecture exam 4 different times. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And here I am, still hanging around. Eventually, I did pass them all, and am now a licensed architect with my stamp in hand. Why did you fail? Failing your ARE could have happened for a number of really good reasons. Here's a list of reasons that I noticed going on with my own fails and friends of mine. Just not having it together. Maybe you gave yourself 5 weeks to study when you really needed 8. This is the number one reason most people fail. Looking back, it's the best reason to fail an exam. I failed both building systems and structural systems because I just didn't have a complete understanding of the material. I later went back and assassinated those exams. You were dead on arrival. Site planning and design was my 3rd test. When I took it, I had a lot of momentum from CDS and PPP, so I studied my buns off. I mastered the vignettes inside and out. I memorized all types of site planning data and information, and rocked all of my practice exams. I felt great walking into that exam, and was also proud of how hard I had prepared for this test. When I started the exam, many of the questions weren't even slightly geared towards site planning and design, and if they were outside of what I studied. I had several calculations that I wasn't prepared for, and as I moved through the multiple choice questions, I was continually tagging them as WTF and to review later. When I got to vignettes, they were the hardest I had ever seen. I had practiced on every version of the vignettes I could get my hands on, and the vignettes on my exam were truly impossible to solve without making a fatal error. I had to choose the lesser of all the errors I was being forced to make, so I killed an extra tree. When I got my result, I failed the multiple choice and passed the vignettes. Ugh. The second time I took site planning was completely opposite. It was a walk in the park. It was the easiest multiple choice I ever answered. In fact, it was so easy I thought it was a joke. The vignette was very close to the NCARB practice, and I passed the exam with flying colors. Nothing I could have done could have prepared me for the first time I took site planning and design. Rescheduling fine print. I failed building design and construction systems because my test was on a Tuesday and I tried to reschedule on Thursday. The fine print says you cannot reschedule 0 to 3 days before the exam. I didn't realize it was business days, not calendar days. Duh! And for some reason I also thought, since you can take a test on a Saturday, maybe this was considered a business day. But it's not. I took the test anyway, definitely unprepared. Funny thing is, I actually did way better than I ever thought I would. This is the dumbest reason ever to fail. Don't be a fool like I was. The good news. Honestly, the worst thing that can happen is you will lose your test exam fee and you cannot retake the exam for 6 months. That's basically the worst of it. Luckily, I have also learned that there are a few positives in failing an exam. Focusing on these will help you for round 2. You now have feedback from your failed exam. Your test result will tell you what areas of the exam you failed. Take this information really seriously and bone up on that information. Maybe you should add in a specialty book on that subject when you restudy. When I failed building systems, my result said I had minor deficiencies in plumbing. I honestly don't even remember the plumbing questions, but for round 2, I focused on the MEEB plumbing chapters and watched several plumbing videos. Keep the old stuff, but study new materials for round 2. When I failed structural systems, I studied ballast and Kaplan extensively. The second time studying, I avoided all study materials that I used from the first time, until I got to the final push. The last 2 weeks, I reviewed all of the study materials from the first time around. Having been schooled elsewhere, the old study materials had a whole new meaning, and I was able to benefit from them immensely. You're not starting from ground zero. Luckily, you have already invested some time in this exam, so getting up to speed shouldn't take that long. Accept the fact that you're just going to have to study it more. See it as an opportunity to learn more about that topic instead of a death sentence. You're normal. It's normal to spend 2 to 4 years finishing the architect registration exam. These tests are really tough, and it's normal not to pass all 7 the first time you take them. It's normal to not be an expert on all 7 exams. It's normal to fail an exam. What isn't normal is finishing all 7 exams in less than a year. It's not normal to think, these tests aren't a big deal. If you need to make a living, have a relationship, or desire living a normal life, you probably can't finish them in such a short period of time. NCARB does a great job of highlighting people who finished the exams in less than 1 year. I don't know anyone who has done that and only read about them from NCARB's marketing material. Sure, these people exist, but there aren't as many of them as NCARB wants you to think. Don't beat yourself up. It's not a big deal. You have done a lot of hard work to get to this point. Many people never do this, and the fact you are studying and taking these tests is commendable. The true meaning of failure is giving up after you have been handed a setback. Failure isn't failing a division of the ARE because you screwed up a calculation. Keep studying, you're almost there. You have worked your butt off to get to this point. This information is a sample from a series about the Architect Registration Exam by Michael Rosica in 2014 and posted on the website youngarchitect.com. For more information specifically about the ARE, visit youngarchitect.com/ARE. Have a great day and good luck finishing your exams.